Vincent van Gogh, Sunflowers and Swirly Stars by Joan Holub. This story was written in the format that a student was doing a report on Vincent van Gogh. So the teacher, Mrs. Brandt, is asking the student to think of these three questions and answer them. Why did you pick your artist? If you could ask your artist 3 questions, what would they be? And did you learn anything that really surprised you? Good luck and have fun. Stories of the not so rich and famous, or the not rich and not famous. Painting by Vincent van Gogh sold for $82 million. There he's thinking, finally I'm rich. Did you think Vincent van Gogh got rich from being an artist? I did. I heard on TV that one of his paintings sold for over $82 million. It is called The Portrait of Dr. Gogh. Paintings would be a cool way to earn lots of money. I thought Van Gogh was lucky to have earned that much for just one picture, and that is why I picked him for an artist. He was Vincent's friend. There's the painting. $82 million. But then I found out the truth. Van Gogh was poor his whole life. He did not become famous until after he had died, when Vincent was a boy. Vincent van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853. He lived in a little town in Holland named Groot Zundert. His father was a preacher. His mother was a housewife. There were 6 kids in his family. He was the oldest. I know what that's like. I have a little brother and a little sister, and I am the oldest too. Vincent painted this self-portrait, but you can see his red hair. Vincent was 13 in this picture. Vincent's favorite brother was named Theo. Theo always tried to help him out of trouble, and Vincent got in plenty of that. School was no fun for Vincent. He got bad grades and had a hard time making friends. He quit school when he was only 16. I drew this picture of me by looking in the mirror. That is how Vincent painted his self-portrait too. My brother painted this self-portrait. He is only 4. Vincent gets lucky. This is the art gallery where Vincent worked. Luckily, Vincent's uncle gave him a job at an art gallery in Holland. This was his first big break. At home, Vincent didn't get to go to art museums. There weren't any art books around either. But at his new job, Vincent saw art all day long, so he really liked it. He was so good at his job that his boss gave him a promotion. He sent him to work in an art gallery in London, England. Things were looking up. When Vincent moved away, I think he really missed Theo. Vincent wrote lots of letters to his brother, and he drew pictures all around the edges of the paper. They were pictures of buildings and interesting things he saw. In those days, most people didn't have cameras. It's a good thing Vincent could draw. Vincent wrote his letter to Theo in Dutch, not English. These are all the letters here. Vincent messes up. Soon Vincent was in trouble again. He fell in love with a woman who didn't love him back. He felt sad all the time. He forgot to go to work, and guess what? He lost his job. Now Vincent needed a new job. He tried being a teacher. That didn't work out. He tried selling books in a bookstore, and that didn't work either. He tried to be a preacher. Nope. Vincent felt like a failure when those jobs didn't work out. Is this job hunt like a game? All the different jobs he tried. Vincent starts painting. Next, Vincent decided to be a painter. He didn't start out as a great artist. Most artists began painting when they were a lot younger than he was. Vincent had a lot of catching up to do. He practiced by copying other artists at first. 2 of his favorites were Rembrandt and Jean-Francois Millet. They painted with dark colors. So Vincent did too. Vincent wanted to paint pictures of things he cared about. There were lots of poor people in Vincent's neighborhood, and he worried about them. He painted a picture of them and called it the Potato Eaters. Vincent worked on the picture for months. He was proud of it, but the colors are dark, and the people look sad. I don't like it. Nobody else did either. Time to move. Vincent went to live in Paris, France in 1886. He met lots of other artists there. Many of them, like Claude Monet, are famous today, but back then they were just struggling artists like Vincent. In Vincent's time, artists painted pictures to look real, almost like photographs. Some artists began experimenting. They put their feelings into their paintings. Their brushstrokes showed. These artists were nicknamed Impressionists because they painted their impressions of things they saw. People were shocked by their art. Vincent made friends with artists named Paul Signac and Georges Seurat. They painted in a style called pointillism. Up close, their pictures look like a mess of dots, but from far away, They look like regular paintings. This is a George Seurat painting, and it's made out of millions of little dots. Dashes, dots, and swirls. Paul Signac tried to get Vincent to paint with dots. Instead of just dots, Vincent tried something else. He painted with dashes and swirls. While he was in Paris, Vincent saw some Japanese paintings, and they really wowed him. Japanese artists painted with bright colors. They left the shadows out of their pictures, and they drew outlines around some things. Vincent tried these ideas in his paintings. This is Vincent's version of that Japanese poster. Best buddies. The best thing about Paris was that Theo lived there too. Vincent and his brother became roommates. Sounds great, huh? Wrong. Vincent was a pest. He liked to argue. He was messy too. Sometimes he just tried too hard. He got so excited about painting that he drove other people crazy. Theo's friends didn't like Vincent. They wouldn't come over anymore. Theo wanted Vincent to move out. After 2 years, he finally did. Vincent and Theo stayed best buddies, even though they fought a lot. Everyone else ignored Vincent's paintings. Theo always told him how good they were. I agree with Theo. I think Vincent's pictures are great. Everything in them looks alive and moving. The sky, the trees, even people's clothes and skin. That's one of his paintings there. Sunflowers. Vincent left Paris and headed to the south to Arles, France. He moved into a house that he shared for a while with another painter named Paul Gogh. The house was yellow. Yellow was Vincent's favorite color. Vincent painted all the time in Arles. He got better and better at it. He liked to paint pictures of people, but there was something else he liked to paint, flowers. Every morning he got up early and picked a bunch of the yellow sunflowers that grew near his house. Vincent would paint still life pictures of sunflowers until they got droopy. Sometimes he painted 2 sunflower pictures in one day. His sunflower paintings look happy. I think he was in a good mood when he painted them. This is called 14 Sunflowers in a Vase. I counted 15 though. Work, work, work. Vincent was so busy working he didn't make many friends, but he mailed so many letters that he did make friends with the postman, Joseph Roulin. Vincent loved to work. One time he painted 18 pictures in just 26 days. He painted fast because he wanted to get his feelings into the picture before he forgot them. Vincent's paintings took weeks to dry because he put his paint on really thick. He even squirted it onto the picture straight from the tube when he was in a hurry. He was always buying more paint, brushes, and canvas cost a lot of money. Sometimes Vincent had to choose between paint or food. He didn't have enough money for both. He chose paint. He must have really loved painting. Theo wasn't rich either, but he believed in Vincent 100%. He wanted him to be able to paint as much as he wanted, so Theo bought as much paint as he could for Vincent. He even sent him an allowance. I don't know how much. Vincent didn't like to paint from his imagination. He usually went outside to paint things he saw. He painted all day in the hot sun. When it got dark, he stuck candles in his hat and just kept working. The people in Arles thought Vincent was weird because he did things like that. As usual, Vincent didn't have many friends. He couldn't sell any paintings. He was lonely and sad. This is his bedroom. This is a student doing a picture of their room. One day, Vincent went a little crazy and cut off part of his ear. The police came and took him to the hospital. He almost died. When he got better, he kept on painting, but he was never really the same after that. If I met Van Gogh, I would ask him 3 questions. 1, were you sorry you cut off your ear? 2, which one of your paintings do you like the best? 3, what was the happiest day of your life? And I would tell him something too. Don't worry if you don't sell any paintings right now. Someday, you'll be famous. Vincent the Great. I felt really sorry for Vincent van Gogh. He had an unhappy life. When he was 37 years old, he died, and that makes me sad. I think it would make Vincent happy if he knew that people love his paintings now. Theo's wife saved Vincent's paintings and letters. When her son grew up, he put them into a museum, and Vincent became famous. Theo is buried next to Vincent there. Vincent named this picture The Starry Night. I like the swirly stars. I think it's his best painting. Now Vincent's paintings are in museums all over the world. I've never seen a real painting by Vincent van Gogh, but I hope I will someday. These are the things that surprised me about Van Gogh. 1, he wasn't rich. 2, he cut off part of his ear. 3, he sold only one painting during his whole life called The Red Vineyards. It's the only painting he sold. He was only an artist for 10 years. He started when he was 27 and died when he was 37. He made over 1,700 drawings and paintings in that short time. That's almost one every 2 days. He thought the name Van Gogh was hard to read, so he signed his pictures with just his first name like this, Vincent. The end.